Welcome
Hi.
to the show.
It's nice to be here.
You are
Thanks.
with the Turlock Tea Party.
Yes.
And you are working actively with Tim Donnelly and his campaign
Yes.
for governor.
Yes.
We'll get to that in a minute. Right now, I would like to talk to you about one of the hot topics here, not only in California, but across the United States, and that is Common Core. I've heard a lot of people say, oh, it's horrible. It's the worst thing that's ever happened to schools. But I want to know why. Why is that so bad?
Well, part of it is that with Common Core, it's geared towards testing, and more computers, and more data mining for your children. It's part of Agenda 21. It's where you globalize your children. They become globalized citizens. Right now, they don't even have the books ready. And the books, no one knows when they'll be ready. People say 2015, some say 2016. Common Core was started by the UN, and there's a Governors Alliance group that started it. Now, some people say that it's the Republican governors that started it, and it wasn't. And it wasn't passed through Congress. It wasn't passed through any state legislator. No one decided it but Obama's administration, and it came down. And the reason why everybody jumped on board was because most of them were hurting for money, and it was called Race to the Top, and there were big dollar signs onto it. You know, Bill Gates Foundation is connected with it, so all the computers, all the programming, all that, he's going to be implementing in, okay? And no one really has a say as to what's being implemented in. It's what they wanted. There were a bunch of college professors from Harvard to, all the big wigs came in and they decided to do it. And now they're even saying, if you go to Californians United Against Common Core's website, you'll see where they're actually saying that the math isn't working, and it's not, the kids aren't learning it. The algebra is being taught wrong. My grandson came home with a paper, and it was 3 plus 4, and I said 7. He says, but Grandma, the teacher said it was okay to put what I thought it was, as long as I explained to her how I got the answer. And I thought, okay, now, wait a minute. How does this work? Because when I get my bill from my restaurant, what's the waitress going to say? Well, I think it's $25.95. And then she's going to explain how she got that. What the heck? No, that's not what you do, but that's what they're doing. And so also what bothers me is that eventually they're going to be in front of a computer. The monitor's going to be here, and you're going to have what they call a teacher who's just going to moderate everything, and the computer's going to teach the child. Well, how does that teach a child anything?
Mm-hmm.
They want everybody the same all the way across. The gifted student's going to fail, and the child who's already going to fail is not going to be brought up. Everybody's different. What happened to us learning individuality? Yes, we're not all the same. Some people want to be the auto mechanic, and someone wants to be the hairdresser, and someone wants to be the engineer. Well, children need to be individual people. And as a preschool teacher, that's what we taught, and that's what should be in the schools. It's worse than No Child Left Behind. It's all testing. It's all geared, and that's how the teacher's going to be. They're going to be tested too, is by how the child does on this test score. Well, that's not right, because you have a whole mixture of children that learn differently, and 45 states accepted Common Core. Now 27 of those states have pulled out. Well, ask them why. Go to the Utah site against Common Core, and they'll tell you why they pulled out. They started teaching it, and it doesn't work. Mm-hmm. Annie, one of our members, who's probably going to call in soon, and she'll tell you more what her son's, he teaches at a Catholic school, and they taught the math part for 1 year, and it doesn't work. So they've stopped. And North Carolina, South Carolina, you hear their legislators say, we tried this for a year and it was a disaster. So, and then you get this packet home, and Turlock hasn't done it, but others have, and it's like 20 pages. They want to know, do you have mental illness in your family? You have guns in the house?
And what is the reasoning behind this? You called it data mining.
Yeah, data mining is to keep track of your family, what's going on, and then it's going to be put into a system where everybody can see it. Well, it's not the UN's place or Obama's administration's place to know anything about your family. That's privacy. That's a Privacy Act. And by doing all this, I mean, even on one website we read, I wish I had brought it, Linda Gooden said that she's a coordinator for Lodi Citizens in Action, which is a Tea Party group, and she's been going out speaking on this, that they're even going to take pictures of your child's retina. Why? What's the reasoning? And there really was no reasoning behind it other than it be a way to track your child. So it's very dangerous, and it's very scary when you look at who's all involved in Common Core.
Yes.
So, for Bill Gates Foundation to have that much control, to me that's a little scary. And teachers are only allowed to change it 15%. And so what we all got worried, and not that we're scared, but we're just worried for our children and for our future. So what we started was Stanislaus Citizens Against Common Core, and Pat Bicknell has took over that, and on October 17th at the Doubletree they're going to do a panel. And I don't know much about it because they haven't shared with us, but I know when we first talked about it, it was supposed to be like 3 or 4 Common Core and 3 and 4 people against Common Core, and they were going to do it. They did this in Vacaville. And
do you know what time that's going to be, or where we can find the information out on Facebook, maybe?
It'll be on Facebook. They have a Stanislaus Citizens Against Common Core Facebook page, and we'll have it up on it's www.turlockteaparty.com. That's our website, and there'll be information there on our calendar. So that'll be out, and we're going to put it in the paper and stuff, and hopefully get it on the radio. I believe it starts at 7 o'clock at the Doubletree.
I can help you with that. Okay, we have a couple callers on the line. So is Annie on the line? Okay, let's go ahead and bring Annie on. I'll close this down. We'll get to you in just a minute, Tim. Okay, so hang in there. We got Tim from Tampa Bay and Annie from Turlock. So Annie, you're live and on the air.
Hi, Athens. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really good. Have you been able to listen to Marie talking about Common Core?
Actually, I must have been muted. I did not hear that.
Okay, so I have a sign here, and I'll hold this up over here instead of a picture of you. We'll hold this up so people can see this. Tell us a little bit about Common Core from your personal experience with that.
Are you talking to me?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I don't have any children in school anymore, but I've been very concerned as I've learned more about it, that it's like really a one-size-fits-all education system. And that's certainly been what I with. The more I learned about it, the more I feel like they were trying to get back to inspiring, kinds of work, stimulate students, except that they only gaming curriculum at one particular standard. We all know kids grow and learn at different stages, at different levels, and they have different interests. And this just provides for that, for that diversity in learning is really.
So you're breaking up a little bit but from what I'm hearing from you, you're saying that it's teaching more to a pack of yellow pencils versus individuality of each student.
You got it right on the head. Absolutely. I believe that individuality will be if the students are being taught
a former music and art teacher, I have to say it's really nice being able to teach outside the box and color outside the lines from time to time. So I have no idea where this is going to go. Annie, if you want to hang on the line and listen for a little bit more, that would be great. I appreciate you calling in, and we'll see if we can bring you back on the air in about 10 minutes, okay?
Okay, I'll probably listen in for a minute, but probably not for about 10, but I really thank you for...
Okay. Well, we'll count on Annie to post this to Facebook as we're on TV. So thanks a lot, Annie. We'll talk to you a little bit later. We also have Tim Curtis from the Tampa Bay Tea Party, and I'm going to go ahead and flip this up now because I think Ed, my cameraman for tonight, is going to focus in on Tim's picture if we can get that focused in. And Tim, are you on the line? Okay, so Tim will be with us in just a moment. So if you want more information about the Citizens United for Against Common Core, where can we find that? Is there a website?
There is a
I
website.
saw the .org
yeah,
there.
It's called Californians United Against Common Core, and it was started by just a bunch of people in California. I mean, Heather Gass set it up, but it's got Democrats as well as Libertarians, Republicans. They all formed this to stop it in California and educate people on the good and the bad. And you can go to hit the links down, and there's a myth and facts sheet, which is awesome to do. It's on there. Matter of fact, Modesto City Councilman David Gear helped him out with it, so
good.
He's on there too as
Good.
one of the sponsors.
Well, we'll check that out. Tim, are you with us now? Okay, maybe because Tampa's a long ways away from California. Where's the tin cup and wire? Oh, there you are. Okay, so Tim, this is Marie. She is from the Turlock Tea Party, just about 20 minutes south of where we're broadcasting now, and you are from Tampa Bay, which is about 3,600 miles from us. And I was telling Marie before we came on the air, I think we've lost Tim. I was telling Marie before we came on the air that pretty much wherever you go in the United States, we're facing some of the same issues. It doesn't matter really if it's Common Core or high-speed rail or taxes, raising taxes. Yes.
It's all over. Gun issues, all of it. So it's affecting everyone.
It is. Tell us a little bit about what you are doing in the Tampa Bay area. Okay, so Tim, I think I'm getting a text from him. Okay, so if you are listening to this live, I'm going to go ahead and give you the phone number again. Let's see, I'll say it on the air. So if anybody out there, but he may be only listening. So it's 538-209-538-4130, and the other one is 209-573-0933. Okay, so have we got him back on the phone? Okay, great. Tim?
Good evening, Athens.
There you are. Sweet success. Okay, so we're talking with Marie about Common Core, but you are facing other things in addition to Common Core. What would you like to talk about tonight with the Tampa Bay area?
Let's start with Common Core because the one thing that's common about Common Core is that it's commonly a disaster.
Yep.
And we are fighting it tooth and nail here in Florida and in Central Florida. As a matter of fact, there's going to be a big conference call tomorrow evening where one of the organizers is going to lay out some strategy. And so I'm very excited about how the grassroots folks are coming together to talk about and take the information to our elected leaders so that they will be armed with the information necessary to make a stand and reject Common Core.
Well, how do you face it at the grassroots level there in Tampa? Do you go to the school itself, or do you go to school board meetings to your elected officials? How do you do that?
Great question. There are a couple different approaches that are being employed. First arming the parents with the information necessary to let them know what Common Core entails. Because there are so many people out who simply think that an innocuous program, it's just like Race to the Bottom or Every Child Left Behind. Wait, did I get those wrong?
Yeah, it's Race to the Top.
Well, it seems like it's a race to the
To
bottom.
the bottom, it should be, huh?
Because
That's true.
the standards that the state of Florida had instituted before the court came along were actually superior to those that are being proffered by Common Core. So it certainly seems like the opposite is happening under the guise of trying to improve the education and give our children a world-class education. It's simply not happening. Common Core is not the vehicle we need to ride there. As a matter of fact, this is one time when we ought to be looking back on history and saying, we grew the greatest nation on God's green earth. How did we do that? The answer is actually very simple. It's very straightforward. We taught children how to read, write, and calculate on grade level so that when they got to a middle school or a junior high school, they were prepared now for the next step, which might be geometry or algebra. And we have completely failed in doing that for our children now, and we failed in favor of teaching them about how to put a condom on a cucumber.
Well, they also have the books out now that are going to teach children about sex ed at kindergarten level, so
It's just completely off the track.
yes.
The book, the text that are being used, that are being offered by way of the company, I believe it's called Pearson. I understand it's not even an American company. It's writing American textbooks. This is how bad it is. We have abdicated our responsibility. And listen, I'm putting the responsibility squarely on my shoulders, those of my brother and my sisters here in the Tampa area, and all of my family, friends, relatives, and neighbors, because we have completely abdicated the responsibility to review the information that the schools are pumping into our children. Two examples. This textbook that's it's used right now. They have actually rewritten the amendment to have it say something completely different than what it actually says. Now, it doesn't take a constitutional scholar. Mr. President, I didn't go to Harvard Law School, but I don't need that. I can read as well as you do. I can read the Second Amendment. I know exactly what it says. I know exactly what's intended. And what this book has done, it says that the only way that you have a constitutional right to a weapon is if you're part of the state militia. Now, that's just completely wrong. That's one example. Here's another example. Just last week, I believe it was in Wisconsin, the teacher up there was an elementary school, I believe it was, elementary or a middle school, where they ran another Obama indoctrination video where they were pledging, they were showing all of the Hollywood stars pledging their allegiance to Barack Obama. Now, if that's not defamation, I don't know what is. So that's what we're doing here in the state of Florida. I'm privileged to be part of the group involved. Not so much me. I'm more on the peripheral than some of the other folks who are doing all the heavy lifting. But they're keeping me informed about the fight that goes on. And just last week in Tallahassee, there was a huge Stop Common Core rally because the state legislature were in committee up there in Tallahassee.
And what's going on up there? Say that again, because you were breaking up just a little bit.
I'm sorry. The state legislature they were having committee meetings, and so there were a whole group of folks that went up to make sure that they had an opportunity to let the legislators know what we think and what we know about Common Core, why we are absolutely convinced that it's the wrong way for the state to go.
Do you have a website or a Facebook page that you have set up back there? I mean, obviously we can log on anywhere that we have the internet, but do you have something like what Marie was talking about, the Citizens Against Common Core?
Absolutely. I don't know exactly what the URL is, but it's Florida Stop Common Core. I believe it's FloridaStopCommonCore.org.
Well, stick with us, Tim, because I know we're going to move on to another subject right now, but I want your input about that as well. The next subject that we're going to talk about is the what is commonly known, or coming to be commonly known, as stack and pack housing, as far as sustainable growth and condensed housing. The reasoning behind it is that we make better use of the land to build on and then leave the outlying land for farming and such. What is your opinion on that, Marie?
Well, it's what we call Agenda 21. I mean, when you look at it, in the valley, they don't want the farmland, they're destroying it. Because if they wanted the farmland, then they wouldn't be taking the water rights away from us. And we've heard over and over again by Heather Gass and Rosa Corey and Michael Shaw and Kirk McKenzie that they want to take the valley and wipe it out. So we would be in stack and packs on the west coast side and on the other side and bring the valley back to its natural habitat, which is a wetland. So if you look at their map, right in the middle, we're all gone, and we would be in stack and pack communities. And their reasoning is that we're better off in communities if they're more controlled, they're safer, more environmental friendliness, yada, yada, yada. I mean, the list goes on. And Agenda 21 is here, and our local legislators they've been given binders. Every county board of supervisor in Stanislaus County has a binder that Don Jeffries gave them. And it explains it. Our Turlock Fire Chief has one, the police chief has one. They also know about Common Core because they've been given that information too. So they know. And we have it. It's called StanCog. That's Agenda 21. That takes away our constitutional rights for property rights. Takes it all away. Agenda 21, and I'm sure in Florida they have something like we do. We have a California State Water Board that's appointed by a governor. That's against our constitutional rights. So it's happening everywhere, but each state, I think it affects them a little differently. They're doing different things, but it's all one world order.
Tim, do you have the sustainable growth in Florida as well?
Oh, we sure do, and it's insidious. It is, as Marie described, it's reached its tentacles all the way down to the local governments. And there are well-intended people who are just simply blindly following and drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yep.
And I want to agree with Marie on something else, too, because, and I want to make this statement very emphatic, because Joe Wilson from South Carolina is the only one who had the backbone to stand up and say this, but I'll say it now. They lie. They lie. They don't care about land in its natural state. Nothing could be further from the truth. They don't have any interest in that at all. What the folks who are behind this, and it emanates all the way out of the United Nations, and we have boneheads like Al Gore that sign on to this pablum, but this has to do with control. And Marie made a very important point. It has to do with property rights. Those are constitutionally guaranteed rights, and they want to, at every turn, to mitigate and diminish our constitutional rights. And like there are some folks here who are hot on Agenda 21, and we're fighting it tooth and nail every step of the way and pointing it out and calling it for what it is. It is an erosion of our constitutional rights.
Well, I'll pose this question to both you and Marie, and that is, why is this movement afoot to take away our constitutional rights, and who's behind it?
Marie, would you like to go first?
Sure. The UN is behind it. I mean, that's how it all got started. And if you look at socialism in the European countries, that's exactly what it was over there, and they're moving it this way. And the movement has been here for a long time. I just don't think a lot of us realized it until we became more active in the Tea Party movement, and we started talking to people, and we started investigating more and digging. I mean, Stancog's been in this county for over 12 years. And you hear from the local politicians, and I'm sure he hears it in Florida, oh, sustainable growth is good. It'll protect the environment. And so it started way back. I mean, it was all signed on under Bush Sr. And so when when you read it, it sounds great, but it isn't. It's one world order where everybody is ruled under one thumb. And that's the scary part of it, is that they're taking our constitutional rights away. And we see it more and more nowadays because we're calling them out on it. And I think that's what's caused all the friction, too, is that we're finally calling them on the carpet from local level all the way up, and they don't like it. So,
Tim?
So very true. And to reinforce his point about the constitutional rights being eroded, John Kerry did it again. He, in an attempt to again undermine our constitutional rights, he signed a small treaty at the UN. So anyone who uses that bunch of tinfoil hat wearing folks, what we talk about, there used to be a conspiracy behind every door. Well, John Kerry just gave us all the evidence that we need that they being progressives, liberals, that is goal. It is their purpose. And we shouldn't be surprised about it. I mean, we're a very young country. We're 150 years old. We're in the big scheme. We're very young. And so when our forebears came to this nation, many of them were steeped, highly steeped in European social democracy, not a representative democracy. We have a representative republic. And so they tried to here, and then the conform governments that existed years, hundreds of years before we ever came along, some of them came across too. And so they are trying to institute, Bernie Sanders is a great example of it, socialism. Eastern European failed socialism. What I don't understand is why there are so many, I kind of do understand it, because people are asleep or they have their nose down to the grindstone trying to eke out a living in this horrendous economy. But why there are so many people who aren't up in arms about the fact that their very means for making a living for their family is being taken away, it is being legislated away by people whose very purpose is to do that. They're not even trying to subterfuge anymore. They're just coming right out and saying it. That goes for Barack Obama, John Roberts, Mitch McConnell, Nancy Pelosi, Harry Reid, John Boehner. They're not even fooling around anymore. They're just in our faces about it.
Well, Tim Curtis, I appreciate you joining us this evening. Give us your information where we can find out more about the Tampa Bay Tea Party as well as Tampa 912. We didn't get a chance to talk about that much this evening, but give us some info about that, and I know that you have a closing quote for us as well.
Oh, and you would ask me that, and I don't have the top of my head, but I'm happy to share with you one of my many, if I can find it here real quick. Anyway, the website is tampa912.org. tampa912.org. Go there, learn about what it is that we're doing here. It's a very easy model that you can replicate in your area if you'd like to. And the quote that you're referring to is the one that now goes on the bottom of all of my emails. If I can get to it very quickly while I'm here, I'm not even going to try. I'll just tell you that it's a great quote from Frederick Douglass, and I'm going to paraphrase. Frederick Douglass says, that all he asks of the American people is that they honor the Constitution, that they make it apply to everyone and apply to everyone equally. And when we achieve that, we will once again be back on the same track that grew us to the greatest, most prosperous, greatest opportunity for freedom and liberty that the world has ever known.
Well, thank you for joining us and sticking with us to call in several times to make this work. We're still learning how to bring callers on the air, so I really appreciate your patience with that and interacting with Marie Roberson here from Turlock. We'll talk to you soon, Tim.
Thanks again so much. Great to be with you.
Bye-bye. Tim Curtis with the Tampa Bay Tea Party and Tampa 912. We're going to go back and talk a little bit more with Marie and kind of close out this segment before we go on with No on Measure X and what Yes on Measure X is doing with the city of Modesto. And if there is a candidate or a viewer at home, I assume, good, we still have the phone number up there. Please give us a call. We have about 5 extra minutes at the end of this show, so we have plenty of time for you to interact. And I think we've worked out all the audio issues so far at the expense of Annie and Tim. So coming back to the Turlock Tea Party, the email that I get from you, I know now why I got it a little confused with the Patriots. It's listed as the North Valley Patriots. Is it officially that? How do we look it up on Facebook?
Well, Facebook, it's North Valley Patriots, because what happened was there was a group of us that started together in Livingston, California at the Blueberry Hill Cafe. So it was Merced, Los Banos, Modesto, Turlock, the West Side. People came from Sonora. People were coming from Angels Camp when we first started. And so there was the Central Valley Tea Party. There was NorCal Tea Party. And so the people, Brandon at Central Valley said, we're going to set you up with a website and a Facebook page called North Valley Patriots, because we're sort of in the middle. And we said, okay, because we all used to meet together. And then we all separated and we went to our own little towns, but we kept North Valley Patriots because we still do things together, like when we go to the Stanislaus County Fair, or we help each other out at different events. And so we use that banner to attract people too. Because sometimes when they see Tea Party, they sort of back away, but when they say North Valley Patriots, they start questioning who we are. And then once they know, then they're okay with it. So our Facebook page was for everyone to use, and we just decided not to stop it because everybody had gotten used to it. So it's North Valley. It's actually Turlock Tea Party North Valley Patriots.
Okay, I think I have a sign here.
And then we do, but the sign is different because...
Okay, so do you want me to show it or not?
You can.
Okay.
We also hold our 501c4 under NorCal Tea Party and stuff, so we all work together. And so this was a logo that they came up with at the last Tax Day rally. Sam Paredes from Gun Owners of California came up with the eagle with the hat because it's, the pursuit of happiness, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And so California Tea Party is just everybody together, as one group. So that's what you see out, and that's what's on our logos and stuff. So you can find us real easy at www.turlockteaparty.org. It's a new website, so that's up and running now, and Facebook's North Valley Patriots.
Okay,
So.
very good. I always like to ask contact information because after you leave here, sometimes it's nice to kind of dial up to the internet and check out those pages.
Yeah.
So one more thing I wanted to talk about, and that is kind of goes hand in hand with the sustainable growth, and that is the land preservation. Do you see something stirring as far as land being set aside for environmental purposes infringing upon the property owner's rights? I mean, if the property owner already has 5 acres or...
They do. Kirk McKenzie does a great job, and there's actually we should have one of our reps come on. It's Defending Rural America, and they talk about that. I mean, they, like right now they're fighting in Tuolumne County this frog and toad, spotted
The
frog.
red-legged frog.
Yeah. And it's
Or
like,
yellow. It's a yellow-legged frog.
I don't know what it is, but it's a frog and toad that's been there for years. But, you know, it's on people's property, so now they want to take their property away because there's so many frogs and toads here. And they can explain it better, because what I do is I handle the Tea Party stuff mostly, and then everyone builds their coalitions and takes off with it. And so from what I'm understanding when they inform me, and I wish I was more informed, and I'm sorry, but is that when they find these animals, or they find this, you know, the little delta smelt on your property, then they can come in and take your property, because, you know, we've got to protect the endangered species and stuff like that. So then they're taking our property rights away from us for environmental reasons, and there's no reason for it.
Is that one of the subjects that you discuss during your meetings, or do you mostly just interview candidates and?
No, we have speakers that usually come, anyone from Agenda 21 to Common Core to local politicians to local city council. We have a topic all the time. People ask gun rights. That's a hot topic right now. Kirk McKenzie goes to bigger conferences, but we have people that are involved in it, so they'll update us on what's going on and stuff about that. Chuck from the Oakdale Tea Party group is really involved in it. Our group seems to do more Agenda 21, StanCog, more what's happening in the city. They'll fight for water rights and stuff because that's happening with our farmers and stuff.
Right.
But we have a few that'll go up and do the defending rural thing. So it's what you like to do and what pulls your strings. So there's not just one topic. So we get it all out there so everybody can choose what they want to do.
Give us your information one more time.
It is Facebook's North Valley Patriots. Our website is www.turlockteaparty.org, and we meet the first and third Wednesday of every month at the VFW Hall on Linwood in Turlock.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll make sure that you get all your signs
So-
here. Yeah.